Hello, everyone. Again, this is Anthony Eberhart. Um, Today, I'll be talking to you about active constructive responding and good listening. The reason why in this process speech is because day to day people talk to each other in a professional environment, but they are actually doing it wrong, and they forget many key concepts that need to be noticed. Many individuals have forgotten how to communicate properly in a conversation. In this process speech, I'll be going over actual good listening steps, the different types of active constructive responding, also known as ACR, and the do's and don'ts of each. The goal is to build, strengthen, and maintain relationships and to build a foundation for times when someone actually needs support. You should always use this when someone shares good news or when someone wants to share something that they are actually passionate about. Now, the different types or steps of good listening is A, B, C, D, E. It's pretty simple. A is attend with genuine interest. Of course, we all know that good communication begins with listening, but listening alone is not good enough. So, too often we find ourselves listening to our son or daughter tell us about their day at school, and we watch the evening news or listening to a friend vent about their problems at work while we're really thinking about what we want for dinner. One important aspect to attending with the interest is focus. An active listener is totally focused on what the speaker is saying. As the conversation progresses, the active listener will carefully analyze and digest what they are actually hearing. Now, A was attend with genuine interest. B is to be responsive. As individuals in a professional environment, we are mostly trained to solve problems. And so that is often our initial instinct. But it is important to remember that sometimes listening and understanding are more important than solving. Ask them what type of support they need and want, and to show them what genuine interest and what it is to be responsive to that actual person. Now, we covered the A and the B, so now we go to the C. C is just to care about the other person. Just remember that even though you may not care about the topic, you do care about the person. Even if you may have gotten into a quarrel with someone at work, you still care about the work that they do because you all share a workload. Now, C was care about the other person, so now we're going to move to D. Don't interrupt, like my son loves to do. When you interrupt someone or finish his or her sentence, you have to keep track not only of your own thoughts, but of those of the person you are interrupting as well. Interrupting can also send the message to the other person that you don't care about what they have to say. Remind yourself, before a conversation begins, if possible, you want to be patient and just wait. Now, D was don't interrupt. So now we're going to go to E. E is real easy. You're just encouraging the person to say more. Now, when you're encouraging the person to say more, you want to ask open-ended questions such as, tell me about, or how did it make you feel? Or what did you do this weekend? When you ask an open-ended question and encourage the other person to say more, you open opportunities for deeper perspective into how they actually feel when they're talking. Now, in addition to showing you care by good listening, the way you respond to someone in a critical way to build relationships. We are often supportive to our friends and family members when they need our support in times of stress. But how do you respond to good news also matters for relationships. Using active constructive responding strengthens those relationships. The news that someone shares does not have to be large or life-changing, but it can be the small day-to-day achievements we experience. There are four main ways we can respond when someone shares positive news with us, and they vary on two domains. The two domains are active or passive, and constructive or destructive. Now, I'm going to go through these, but the easiest way to think of these is like a Punnett square. You'll see what I mean in just a second. The first one is PC, or passive constructive. most of us actually do passive constructive. A passive constructive response is one in which the responder says very little or is silent about the actual event. This may not be intentional, but our minimal support can sound like we don't care very much. We don't ask questions about the event or elaborate on what it means for the other person. The person can be distracted or half listening to the news, or even, let's say our child tells us they got a good grade on a test, and we respond, well, that's nice. Now, most people, when it comes to passive constructive, you might be on your cell phone, or you might be typing on the computer. You want to give them your undivided attention when they're speaking. Easiest way, just turn around in your chair. Now, we did passive constructive. Now there's passive destructive. It is when the disclosure of the event is hardly acknowledged, if at all. The responder may shift the focus of the event to themselves, or change the subject to discuss something completely different. The person hijacks the conversation to focus on themselves. Someone tells us that they are going on a vacation, and we say, "Oh, I got back from a great holiday. Let me show you the pictures." Now, a lot of people do this, and they're most of the time called one-uppers. Almost everybody knows an individual that is a one-upper. It's horrible. Now, the third one is an active destructive response. It's when the responder is attentive and involved, but the feedback is negative, squashing any positive emotions. This is often done by pointing out negative aspects of the event, or making the event sound less exciting or good. Someone shares the news, "I just got a new job," and the person squashes that moment by saying, "Won't that lead to a lot more work?" Or when someone gets a new car, "Will you actually be able to afford those payments? I know what you make." It's very unnerving to hear conversations like this. Now, that was an active destructive response. Now, the one you want is the active constructive response, ACR. An ACR is one in which the responder expresses involvement, excitement, or enthusiasm about the positive event. This is often accomplished by asking questions about the event, seeking additional details about it, and elaborating on the possible implications and benefits of the event for the disclosure. And you always want to comment on why the event is meaningful to the individual in particular. By showing interest and enthusiasm for the other person's news, only ACR is associated with positive outcomes in strengthening relationships. Now, I hope that everyone uses this active constructive response, and actually going through the steps and in good listening will help you day to day when you're talking to your peers, talking to people under you, or talking to your supervisors. I wish everyone has an amazing day. Thank you very much.